Chiefs Kingdom, welcome to another episode of Papa Schro Knows. Got a lot to get into about this game. Going to talk about some massive performances from some guys and just the night with me being there in attendance at the AFC Championship game. We're just going to talk about what this game was, what it means to the Kingdom and this team at the end of the day. We got EDJ stopping by, DEJ, my co-host of Papa Schro Knows, or Papa Schro Knows. You're listening to Papa Schro Knows. My co-host from Wrestling with Kayfabe, and along with the Schrobank Show. So we got an awesome show lined up for you, and just some fun stuff for Chiefs Kingdom. And let's get right into it. The Kansas City Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl, baby. Let's go. Sunday night, Arrowhead Stadium. It was rocking. Back and forth battle between two heavyweights. What a night that Sunday night was. I mean, just an absolutely amazing experience. Being at the game was awesome. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, come on. I don't want to hear anybody saying anyone is better than Patrick Mahomes. Shut it down. No one is better than Patrick Mahomes. There is not a single quarterback better than Patrick Mahomes right now. I mean, I saw Dan Orlovsky had him in his top 5 all time, number 2, which I think it may be a little. We might be jumping the wagon a little bit there, but right now, Patrick Mahomes is in a level and a class of his own at quarterback in the NFL. Absolutely different level than anyone else is on. With a bum ankle, goes out 39 of 43, 326 yards, 2 huge touchdowns. And how about that run at the end of the game? He had 3 carries, 8 yards, but the run at the end of the game for 4 or 5 yards, whatever it was, on a 3rd and 4. Come on. Got the penalty. Chiefs kick a game-winning field goal. Boom. Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl. They beat the Bungles. This just fumbling franchise. Never won a championship. Came in talking all that good stuff. All of it. Burrowhead. I mean, I don't even know off the top of my head what all was said thinking about it, but just all the nonsense they gave us, everything, week 13, beating us 3 times in a calendar year. Good for y'all. Good for the Bengals. And again, just like the Bills, at least the Bengals have got to win their Super Bowl, and that's going to an AFC Championship game, beating the Chiefs in the regular season. The Bills, I mean, they can't get past the divisional round. I mean, I guess we played them in the championship game a few years ago, but they just can't get by us to the point that whatever. We're not gonna go too much into either one of these organizations right now, but the game being rigged, man, that is great. That is great. The script, the fact that the players are literally trolling the Bengals fan base is just it couldn't be better right now. After all the trash talk, everything that has happened, just amazing. It's been a good week. And I took most of the week to get my voice back. So that's one reason why I haven't recorded this yet, to even talk about the game. I feel like there's just a lot to digest from that game. And throughout the week on Twitter and social media and all of the noise, I've just been taking it all in and just sitting back and waiting for the right time. I feel like Friday night was the right time to record this. Get the work week over with and talk about Chiefs football a little bit and give some content to the people. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I mean, you can't say enough about the performance. You can't say enough about it. 6 catches, 116 yards and a touchdown. You just can't say enough. Travis Kelce's Travis Kelce. 7 catches, 78 yards, 1 touchdown. Behind Jerry Rice now only in touchdowns, yards, and receptions all time in the NFL playoffs. Only Jerry Rice that man trails. The tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, Travis Kelce, only trails Jerry Rice in every single statistical category for catching footballs in the NFL playoffs. I mean, at this point, what do you? This team is so good. They're good when it matters, and not to just like gush over the Chiefs too much, but I mean when it matters. I mean, to think about what they had out there, what the Kansas City Chiefs had to do with Marcus Kemp, Sky Moore, MVS. I mean, look at the injuries. Kadarius Toney. You had Juju Smith-Schuster and McCole Hardman all go down. Shout out to McCole Hardman. He's been awesome, and to be able to get in that game and play is awesome. Andy talked about it. So it's just a huge testament to McCole and his character. But man, it was fun. So I'm gonna get into a couple of clips just because it was just so much fun after the game to just have fun and talk all the trash that we needed to afterwards. Let them know that the Kansas City Chiefs, not the Cincinnati Bengals, the Kansas City Chiefs are the big dogs of the AFC.
Oh, thank God, man. Woo! Burrow had my ass. Woo! It's my home's house. I appreciate you. How about this beautiful trophy? Huh? Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. You gotta fight for your right to party! They said they run the damn AFC, they lied. They said we wasn't gonna whoop their ass, they lied. Cincinnati Bengals, who? Who that? Send their ass home, that's who they is. That's who they is. Sent their ass home, where they at? In the locker room crying. One, I don't know what the hell he did. 85, I don't know what the hell he did but cry all day. Shit, I'm done. I'm going back to the Super Bowl. You got a cigar on your own, I see.
Yeah, I'm smoking the Joe Burrow.
You smoking on the Joe
I'm
Burrow?
smoking on the Joe Burrow.
How's it feel to be headed back to the Super Bowl?
It feels great, you know. My baby boy did what he always do. You know, he gonna show up and show out, and I'm just glad he did it.
All right, so let's welcome in DEJ, EDJ, whatever you know him as, my great co-host from Wrestling with Kayfabe, and as well as with the Schrobank Show. Welcome to Papa Schro Knows. I figured I'd bring you in on this one as we're going back to the Super Bowl.
So it's about damn time. I mean, I've seen you have your own stuff for, a while now, and I figured you were going rogue and, starting your own franchise. So I was a little pissed off about that, but that's okay. It's a great day, Papa Schro, mainly because, when you poke the bear, it's out of phrase here, but you get the horns, and the horns, the bull, the bear, whatever the hell you want to call it. Why would you do that? Why would you do that to someone who, one, you've beaten 3 times, and 2, a team that has not gone away in the AFC picture whatsoever, and you want to poke the bear on the road against a team that's already upset that they haven't beaten you yet? And you want to piss off Chris Jones. You want to piss off Frank Clark. You want to piss off the best quarterback on planet Earth. You want to piss off the best tight end on planet Earth. I mean, why? Why are you doing that? And I want you to realize something, and it's enjoyable, and I want the Cincinnati Bengals fans to hear it because it's enjoyable to me. Joe Burrow had to stand in the pocket and scream like a little girl from the Home Alone movies that one kid was the whole time because he couldn't hear. Can you hear us now, Joe Cool? Can you hear us now? I mean, it's enjoyable, my friend. It's enjoyable to finally get rid of that pest known as the Cincinnati Bengals, and now everything that's transpired. Not very funny that what happened to Joe Mixon. Matter of fact, it's very serious, and that continues to be ongoing. But it's funny because T. Higgins wants $100 trillion, which he deserves, by the way. I'm not saying he does not deserve that. He deserves as much money as humanly possible. He's very talented, as we saw on Sunday. But it's just enjoyable because you did all that talking and all that poking, and your team is now falling apart.
Might I add that the quarterback that you are speaking of, the greatest one on planet Earth, was on one leg?
On 1 foot.
One foot.
Down. Remind me, who were the receivers at one point? It was, that really famous receiver, Marcus Kemp.
Marcus Kemp.
That really other famous tight end, Jody Fortson. That really other famous tight end, Noah Gray.
Jody Fortson was playing receiver.
Yeah, that really other famous rookie wide receiver, Sky Moore. Have you heard of him? Probably not. So, I mean, it's ridiculous, one, to even think that this guy is not the best quarterback on the planet. Just stop it.
How about Joe Burrow getting picked off 2 times by 2 different rookies?
Joe Burrow got picked off twice. What is this, reality? I mean, we saw it already. We've seen this guy. He makes mistakes. Patrick makes mistakes. We all know he does. It's part of his game. But Joe Burrow made mistakes when it matters. Patrick Mahomes very rarely makes a mistake when it matters. He made it last year. We all know it. We all saw it. But very rarely, when Patrick Mahomes is focused, do you see him make a mistake when it matters. Oh, and another guy, I don't know if you've heard of him, Marquez Valdez-Scantling had over 150 yards. Let me repeat that. Marquez Valdez-Scantling had over 150 yards in a playoff game. And had, mind you, essentially the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah. I think it was 116, but
was it 116?
It might as well have been 150.
It might as well have been. The guy makes 2 catches a game. This game, he made 5, 6 catches. At least 3 or 4.
6 for 116.
6 catches.
Pretty sure.
6 catches. The guy makes 2 catches a game, drops the rest of them. Okay? 6 catches, and the guy's name is MVS. If that doesn't show you that they believe in Patrick Mahomes, and that they believe in Andy Reid, and they believe they're the best team on the damn planet, I don't know what doesn't. Why on earth are you going into a place that is so loud? And you're a season ticket holder, and we've gone there a long time.
Yeah.
The playoffs are a different breed.
Different. I mean, it's
different.
Both last year and this year for the AFC Championship game, insane, like different level of loud. And the Titans game as well, the AFC Championship game. I mean, just like the play on the field ramps up, I feel like the noise in the crowd ramps up each round of the playoffs. It's on one level during the regular season. It gets loud. It's, obviously very loud. You get to a wild card game, a little bit louder. You get to a divisional game, a little bit louder. You get to the AFC Championship game, boy, you can't hear nothing. It's like going to a rock concert. Can't hear nothing afterwards.
Well, that was pretty evident because Joe Burrow had to scream in the huddle for 4 quarters. CBS was showing it, and Tony Romo was laughing at him. I mean, we won't talk about Tony Romo because apparently that's a whole other issue that they got to figure out.
Apparently.
But and Joe Burrow, we'll be fair to him. He was not the one that was talking a whole lot of trash, we'll say. He was keeping it classy enough. But his teammates decided not to do that. Whoever said it was Burrowhead, it was a Mixon or
Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton.
Yep. Well, Mike Hilton, where were you at, my friend? Because you didn't show up to play at Burrowhead, I'll tell you that much.
He was getting burned.
Mixon, I thought we were supposed to play through you. I guess you wanted to play through us with 19 yards, but that's okay. I mean, it's just embarrassing. I mean, if you want to talk that much trash.
Might you say embarrassing?
And again, I mean, I'm not a fan of a lot of trash. and I'm not saying that because I think Andy Reid preaches that, but it gives teams motivation. And I think they were interviewing, I believe it was Trent Green on 810 the other day, and he was saying, that just trash talking didn't give me that much motivation. And he was kind of being annoying about it, so I was like, whatever, Trent. But it has to, because look what it did for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
You could hear it in Patrick Mahomes' cadence. I don't know if you heard it at the stadium, but you heard it in the TV. Patrick was lit up, man.
Yeah.
Patrick was fired up. You could hear it. It was extra volume in his huts and his checks and it was louder. He was gonna he'd be damned if the Bengals were gonna beat him in this game. It just wasn't gonna happen. So I mean, you don't poke the bear, especially a team who's been to 5 straight AFC Championship games. Not only been to 5 straight, but hosted 5 straight.
Hosted every single one of them. Well, and I love what the Chiefs did, because after that game was over, boy, they let loose. They fired it up. And I'm already planning to at least have a couple of these clips on this episode, wherever the chips may fall. But definitely just crazy night. I mean, and I feel like as a Chiefs fan, being there, and I feel like not only the Chiefs but kind of the crowd had the same. I mean, it's always chippy between fans, but I mean, like, we knew what we were in for. We knew what this game was, and we knew what it meant. And I feel like there was a real role reversal this year in the game, as the Chiefs were really riding high last year. Until the Bengals game last year, I honestly thought the Chiefs were invincible. Like, to a point, and I feel like the Bengals changed that in my brain, and I feel like this season has been like in my head trying to get that back. Not necessarily the invincibility, but just the belief of knowing how good this team is. And then I feel like they restored it. I feel like everything was restored on Sunday, and not that I think this team is absolutely invincible, because I think the Eagles are a somewhat of a nightmarish matchup for the Chiefs, but that's a whole nother story. But just this game, with the way everything went and all the trash talk afterwards, it was just like, we tried to tell y'all not to talk. We tried to tell y'all. It wasn't like that. You guys ain't got our number. Y'all, the Bengals are not better than the Chiefs. I don't care what the record says. When you watch the film, when you watch them play, it's always some silly little mistakes that got the Bengals wins. And I honestly, for a moment, thought that the Mahomes, errant throw was that, and my soul was crushed in that stadium when that happened.
It was very. It was. I don't know the word. I mean, I sat at home and watched it, but it was frustrating.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it almost seemed like if we were going to go down there and score, and we weren't only going to win, we were going to whoop them. And you're up 2 scores at that point, and even if they do score there, it doesn't necessarily matter.
Mm-hmm.
So you had not only beaten the team that talked so much trash, you took it to them. You beat them by at least 10 or more.
Well, and eerily similar to the Kelsey fumble, because we were that was the fourth quarter, and we were going down to go up 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and the same thing happened. We had a crazy fumble in the middle of the field, and so, but man, just to go full circle, all the trash talk from the Bengals, it was kind of, I thought they took the Willie Gay quote out of proportion with the him saying nothing. I don't know. I mean, I didn't take too much from it, and I don't think the team did either. And I don't think the Chiefs really cared. And I think at that point the Bengals were trying to like promote this narrative of, oh, see, they're talking trash too. See, we're, they're still the team to beat. And it's like, we know how y'all feel. We know exactly. Before the Bills game was over, your cornerback's over here yelling, we see y'all at Burrowhead next week. We know how y'all feel. It's all good, because we came through and we shut them down. And might have crumbled that whole, whatever they got going over there in one game.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the fall of the Roman Empire almost in a way.
In a way.
You had a chance to really do something here, but now it looks like you're starting to fall off the face of the earth. Maybe you took off one of the balloons China's got on us. I don't know. I mean, but either way, it's refreshing, and I mean, it's refreshing, not so much for anybody else in the league, but it's refreshing for me. And I enjoy it because all is right in the AFC because Josh Allen showed once again in the divisional round that he can hit a broadside of a barn if it's 2 feet in front of his face. And I mean, and the Bengals showed that, but the Bengals showed themselves more in the AFC Championship game. It showed that they're not ready. They're not that team, like you said, and experience goes a long way in the NFL, and Patrick Mahomes showed that.
Yeah.
And again, and this isn't just a local fan base, cheering for the home team. It's just factual. You know what I mean? If you look it up, if you look at everything, what Patrick did in this game is just ridiculous. I mean, if you really break it down, it's almost it doesn't seem real.
And Skip tried to say Burrow still outplayed Patrick Mahomes. What game are you watching?
That was a reflex
Yeah.
that he just has, and I mean, he didn't. You could tell he didn't really mean it, But and Shannon was like, "Yeah, I got to get myself a new TV too, then shit." But he I think Skip, that was a reaction that he just has to do, But
That's fair.
I highly doubt he meant that. Um, you know, I see all that, and I don't think Joe Burrow is a bad guy. I don't think he's a terrible quarterback. I think he's very good, But you have a problem with Joe Burrow because he's not very mobile. I mean, you saw him move a couple times. It's a little embarrassing. My favorite player, Nick Bolton, got juked out of his shoes, but that's okay. I mean, it happens. But Joe Burrow is very limited in his ability, and Spagnuolo, being the Super Bowl defensive guy that he is, brought out his Super Bowl game plan on Sunday. It was basically, we're going to blanket everybody you got, and good luck. And you could see, as I had a friend of mine, we were talking about it. Joe Burrow throws the ball in 0.3 seconds.
Yeah.
It's 2 steps and the ball's out of his hand.
And if he can't do that, I feel like almost just like how with Patrick, they it was always, oh well, that too high safety look, oh that kills Patrick, oh that too high safety look, Patrick can't beat the 2-man shell. Well, with Burrow, it's almost like if you're not running zone against him, you can't beat him, or he can't beat you. It's like only because of the Bills, he destroyed them in zone. Those first 2 touchdowns drives against us, we sat in zone the whole time in the game in Cincinnati Week 13. So I just think that almost like, especially if you can get a good enough pass rush, I mean, they have to build an offensive line. If they don't, I mean, Burrow is going to be another Andrew Luck. Because I do believe, I absolutely believe after this game, and maybe the Super Bowl will change my mind with Hurts, but I don't know if he's there yet. And I haven't watched enough of Jalen Hurts, just being honest. But there's a clear-cut gap between everyone in the league and Patrick Mahomes. I don't care what you have to say, what argument you have to make. There is a gap between him and the next man, and I think the next man's Burrow, and I think there's another gap, and you got Josh Allen and probably Jalen Hurts, and hey, that may be just disrespectful to Jalen Hurts, but at the same time, like I said, I haven't watched enough of Jalen Hurts to really accurately kind of put him, but I think Burrow is top notch above everyone else as well, but I still think there's that gap between him and Mahomes.
Well, I think you nailed it on the head. There's Mahomes, and then about 15 spots down, there's Burrow at 2. And about 3 spots down, there's Josh Allen at 2B. And then about 4 spots down, there's Justin Herbert, I think, at 3.
That's
and
fair.
Then Jalen Hurts at 4. So, I mean,
Trevor Lawrence, got to give some love to Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is nice.
5, yeah. I mean, that's fine, and I think he's played better, as the year goes on. And I didn't think he necessarily had a bad game when he came to Arrowhead, but you could tell that Jacksonville just wasn't ready for that. But, it just boils down to why. Why, why are you putting yourself through that? And real quick, because I know you want to go on and do your whole show here, so I'll get off. But, for the fans complaining about the third down, I want to make something clear to you so that you can understand this. The Chiefs punted on the next play.
Well, not the next play. We replayed the down. We still didn't get the third down, and then we punted the ball, just like we would have done if the play would have stood. So, sorry we were a little too loud for anyone to hear a whistle.
So nothing happened. If anything, it actually benefited you because the Chiefs had an extra play and gave you an extra chance to force a turnover.
Yeah.
So in reality, you're actually welcome.
And what was
very
it?
next
2
drive,
minutes?
what happened? The Bengals didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. You have the ball. If you're really a top flight quarterback, you're gonna make something happen. If you want to be compared to Tom Brady, or guys like that, you want to be compared to those guys. You make something happen, kind of like Patrick Mahomes did with less than a minute left with the football.
Well, I mean, again, there's such a big gap, and they were talking about how him running was, what was it? The fastest he's ran the whole game. He was run, or I think ever. I think they said that was the fastest he's ever ran at 20 miles an hour.
And you could tell that ankle was hurting him, hobbling. When he came up from that. I mean, that image of Kelsey holding him up and then walking back to the sideline after that iconic. Get out of here. Iconic.
I mean, it's just silly that, anyone could say anything negative about that man after that. And again, this sounds very homerish, but it's homerish, but it's very true. It's hard to sound homerish when it's right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous that it sounds ridiculous to us because we're used to Tyler Thigpen and Alex
Yeah.
Smith, Tyler Palco. So we've been there. Matt Castle. We've been there. So and thank God the AFC is not in that boat that it was years ago, where it was Manning and Brady, and then Matt Castle. So the AFC is very difficult. And I think this Super Bowl is going to be really good. I think I'm interested to see how Spags schemes up against the Eagles' really good run attack. I think they're very good. Jason Kelsey, one of the best centers in the league, probably right next to, if not slightly behind, Creed Humphrey, if not on the same level, or vice versa, however you want to put that. That Eagles, defensive line is nasty. They get after it. So
Facts.
I think this is going to be a great game. I don't know what Andy's head is going to be like. Who knows what he's going to call. Nick Sirianni is from the Chiefs. There's a lot that just ties into this that, makes sense. So, before I head out, I was going to say, Burrow head my ass. But beautifully well done. I wanted to tell you that your Papa Show knows is great. You've always been a brother to me, but I appreciate what you're doing for us, and and getting the good Chiefs word out there, and keep on, buddy, because everybody needs to know who the best quarterback on God's green earth is.
Yes, sir.
And that's not being a homer. That's just a fact. Mic drop. Goodbye.
Thank you very much, DJ. I appreciate you stopping by the show.
Thanks, buddy.
So we had some fun on Sunday night, Chiefs Kingdom. It was it's been a good week getting ready for the Super Bowl. We got a tough matchup. Work's not done. Tough matchup in the Super Bowl, and the Philadelphia Eagles, I think, is a very formidable foe, even though we are facing a team that had I think they had the weakest schedule. One of the weakest schedules. Top 5, I'm pretty sure, weakest schedules. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Chiefs, of course, had the hardest schedule in the league this season. So, we'll see what that brings. I think the Eagles are still a very formidable opponent and going to be very tough to beat in Arizona. But we're here, man. We really got back to where we said we were going to get. Going into the season, this was not an easy season. It was a long, hard-fought season. The Chiefs battled back from a lot of adversity. Kansas City Chiefs were able to, overcome a lot of things, and that's not just the off-season stuff. Obviously, we know what transpired over the off-season, losing Tyreek Hill. move into a youthful team. I mean, it was a rebuilding year, right? It was branded as a rebuilding year. That's what everyone told us. Remember when, they said we'd miss the playoffs, or when we weren't the best team in the division anymore. We might be the worst team in the division. Yeah, here we are. Back to where we started in Glendale, Arizona for Super Bowl 57. Kind of crazy to think it's been 3 years since Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. But to get back here is definitely just a huge accomplishment for this team. I don't think enough can be said about Frank Clark and the role he's played on this team, just like he did the year that the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. I think that part of his attitude carries that defense, the way he carries himself, and he comes to play. He comes to play, and I mean, Frank Clark to me is just he's just that dude, man. Like out there planting the flag in the ground, just the things, man, that he does is just awesome to see. I feel the way that he's helped coach up Karlaftis. Shout out to George Karlaftis. This whole defense. Shout out to the defense. This whole defense, and I said it all year. This defense is good. I've said it all year. Defense is good from the very beginning. This defense is solid, and they're only going to get better. They're all young. You've got a rookie in Jalen Watson, a rookie in Brian Cook, Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Jalen Watson. I mean, a lot of this defense. Nick Bolton's a second-year guy. Willie Gay, I think, third-year guy. And Chris Jones, CEO of Sack Nation. You can't say enough about him either. Granted, now to go back to Frank Clark did not have the greatest season, but at the end of the day, a sack and a half in an AFC Championship game, 2 sacks for Chris Jones, a half sack for Willie Gay. He was in on the half sack with Frank Clark. Big night. Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, both interceptions. How about Jalen Watson has 2 interceptions now in the playoffs already? Colin Saunders, another guy that I just feel like I need to say his name. Carlos Dunlap, an amazing addition. Just a wonderful evening, and with Patrick Mahomes not having, Marcus Kemp. I don't even know how many games he's made the active roster for this year. Which maybe it's been all of them, but I'm not 100% sure. But I'm pretty sure he was on the practice squad at some point this season. Marcus Kemp has been a staple of the Kansas City Chiefs for the last, 5-6 years, it seems like. Practice squad, lower level receiver. He's, I definitely believe that this team, even dwindled down to, 5th, 6th string receivers, they could do it. But, obviously after watching this game and seeing what Patrick Mahomes is capable of, it's pretty awesome to see. So, it's been a fun ride this year. So that's going to do it for this episode of Papa Schro Knows. I really appreciate for you checking in. I want to get, I'm definitely going to, do some stuff for the Super Bowl, get us ready, kind of analyze kind of what we're going to be looking at. And I might take another look at this Bengals game before we get to that. I'm not sure. I know this review video, podcast, whatever, a little, more so emotional, and just talking about what a great game that was, and all these guys that performed fantastic. But I do appreciate you listening. Depending on where you're listening at, check out Papa Schro Knows Substack. That's papaschroknows.substack.com, and you can check out great content I got there. Obviously, you can find this podcast there if you're not already here. You can also find my blog, everything that I'm writing about, and appreciate all the support. Subscribe if you like what's going on. Give me a rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if you enjoy this podcast, and I'm sure I will be back with much more soon enough. Go Chiefs!